Welcome to the St. Louis podcast, and good morning, everybody. Welcome back. I'm your glorious host today, Eric Brown, president of Vi Media and partner at Mogul Holdings. Sitting next to me, Garrett Atkins, previous CEO of Vi Media and currently at Mogul Holding, which is a Mogul Gaming, which is a family of video games, news, reviews, entertainment companies such as GPT Gaming News, VGT Gaming News, and much more with the reach of a shitload of people, 100 million plus. Today, it's just going to be ourselves, and we're going to talk about some interesting items in the news, potentially talk about St. Louis as well in a positive light, because we need some more of that. I've been in a pissed off attitude the last couple of days. Every single time you log on to anything social media related, it's one way or the other, someone talking about politics within the matter of a couple of people of just getting on there. So I think we change up the discussion today. And we don't have to talk about the two people that are fucking rivaling on everyone's newsfeed at any time of the day. So this is the St. Louis podcast. We're each and every Friday, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. We drop an episode on all major podcasting, audio, and video platforms where we meet with the most badass people and creators, talk about business, entrepreneurship, and current events. Garrett, how you doing?
I'm doing well. You know, just getting over this.
Besides having COVID?
Yeah, besides just getting over the Mexico version of
Cancun COVID.
Cancun COVID.
CC? Little CC?
Eric and I just got back from our first international trip. Took a trip to Cancun for our buddy's wedding. I was the best man. Eric wasn't. And
thank God.
But I did get COVID. That was the price I paid. And Eric literally said, "Hey, you better come on the podcast today, otherwise I'm going to be upset." I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay, let me just fuck myself."
Hey, last Thursday, I was sick for about 24 hours last week. I tested myself for COVID. I tested negative, but it doesn't make any sense because considering I sat next to you and Marissa for like 7 hours on a flight last Sunday. So me not having it makes no sense. But I'm the COVID kid, dude. I've technically never had COVID. I've tested a couple of times, never tested positive. Some of the times I probably had it, I didn't test. So
the
technically,
secret is that he puts the booster in his ass.
Yeah, the secret. We call that the BB, the Biden booster. Cancun COVID. All right. Oh, God.
What are we going over?
First couple of minutes. We probably need to delete that. Otherwise, YouTube's going to show that to one person. It's the person we don't like. Do we want to talk about important, can we talk about how, I just said we're not going to talk about politics.
Politics.
The thing I want to say is I think it'd be so easy to be a politician now. So let's just start off with car companies are sneakily selling your driving data to insurance companies. A new investigation found, you think your car manufacturer is not? GM, Honda, Kia, Subaru, Hyundai, and Mitsubishi for a fact are tracking drivers' data on everything from when they drive to how hard they hit their brakes and acceleration pedal. At least they're guarding that data, right? Wrong. They're selling it to third-party brokers.
What does this mean? What are they selling? What kind of data?
Any data of how you drive. So when we used to drive home like crazy madmen back in the day, from AMG downtown, we'd be like 99.9 risk. 99.9% risk. They'd have all of that data about us and how we drove. Even if say you're about to miss an accident and you swerve or you hit the brakes, they're getting that data too. So they're selling all of that data. But let's just say, for example, you go by McDonald's a lot. Well, now they're probably selling that data. McDonald's knows that you go by there a lot. Now they can use that data. It's just another way for people to sell our data without us talking about it at all, or even giving consent. Because as far as I know, I never signed paperwork directly with the manufacturer in terms of giving them rights to use that stuff. I don't believe. I could be wrong.
You didn't read the contract.
I 100% did not read the contract, but I feel like you. But Facebook did it too, and we never gave consent, or did we? I don't know. It just seems like it's very easy for someone in politics to come out and be like, hey, stop stealing data, stop selling our data, stop using our data. Or if they want to use our data, pay us.
I'm under the assumption that unless you live in the woods about 50 miles plus outside of a city and drive a 1984 Chevy truck that has a little bit of rust, that everything you're doing is collecting data and then being sold to third parties at this point.
I think there's something to be said about creating a vehicle that is like the dumb phones now, where it's like you still are able to call and text and things like that, and it's still like a touchscreen or whatever, but it's not tracking any of your information.
Everything's short of a satellite phone that literally only calls, maybe text, is going to result in selling data. And even a satellite phone, whoever owns that satellite could use that data. But you can go out there and get a satellite phone for like $1,000 to $3,000.
I just want the phone from the Matrix.
I don't
That
recall.
flips. Oh, I was watching the Matrix the other day. It's the one where you press the Nokia, you press the button and it slides out at the bottom.
Oh,
You clip it and
yeah,
it slides. It's so sick. I wish we don't have like cool phones anymore. Back in the day, you get mad at someone and you hang up. You like
the sidekick.
You smack that phone shut. You smack it shut. Now all you do is press a little red button on your phone.
I used to have to use the home phone until junior year of high school.
I was watching The Matrix as well, and they picked up like an old school green phone, and they were dialing off of it. I was like, I kind of want a home phone that I could like manually dial people's numbers off of.
Yeah.
And also, I'm like, yo, hit me on the house phone, bro.
Pretty sure my grandfather still has a house phone.
A house phone? My grandparents still did until my grandma died. I don't think my grandpa does now. But at their house, they had it forever, right there in the kitchen.
That perfect shit would ring.
Perfect spot, yeah.
I'm like, who the fuck is calling this when they have they have 2 cell phones that work fine?
Just old people.
They're calling like, probably off of their cell phone. I can't imagine they're putting their cell phone down, walking to their home phone, and then calling someone else's home phone.
It's probably just telemarketers. That's probably all it is.
Absolutely ridiculous.
It's just selling old people some sort of scam.
Yeah, the bundles they sell at the cable companies are great. Have you noticed how Netflix and all this, we basically are back at cable?
Yeah.
You have to subscribe to HBO the same way you did back in the day.
You almost have to do it smart where you only have a specific amount every month, then you watch your show and cancel it. It's a lot to juggle.
Yeah, or you just have one and then you mooch the rest.
Correct. That is the correct way to do it. And I pay for Apple TV. That's the only I pay for Apple TV, YouTube, and Spotify. I use my parents' Netflix account, and if I ever want to use HBO Max, because that's
what we pay for.
The good HBO shows are on Netflix. Well, some of the older ones.
Like what?
All the Band of Brothers and stuff they put on Netflix. They put like
Band of Brothers is good.
Ballers. Not saying Ballers is amazing, but Ballers is a pretty good show.
We mooch off Marissa, my fiance's mother, Crystal. We mooch off of her subscription plans. She does not pay to get rid of ads on any of them, and it makes me want to commit suicide.
I would just pay her an extra $5. I can't do it.
I've tried.
I can't do ads. That's why you pay. That's why you pay. That's crazy. Pay the extra.
That's what was cool about Netflix and shit back in the day when it launched. For many years, we didn't have ads. I was on Disney Plus trying to watch the shitty new Star Wars TV show, The Acolyte, that's already been canceled after 1 season.
Isn't that the one that got a bunch of backlash and
in a
flack
lot of
for?
Ways, yes.
Was that what was the is it female led? Was that what was the issue there? It was
just DEI in general. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Certain crowds were not happy. Plus, these...
I heard the show just wasn't good as well. Like, it didn't help that it just wasn't great.
It wasn't...
I didn't watch it, though, so I have no idea.
It wasn't great, but it was the only Star Wars live action that took place well before Order 66. So there's a ton of Jedi alive, which is super dope.
You're talking above my knowledge of anything relating
Order
to Star Wars.
Order 66 is when Emperor Palpatine
got it.
Ordered all the Jedi to be killed in Clone Wars.
Okay, got it. Okay.
It was a terrible time. Very sad.
Emperor Palpatine. God,
yeah.
They always made the emperors look disgusting.
Yeah, no, he was 8.
Yeah, he didn't look great.
He's not healthy.
He did
at
not
all.
look good.
But I mean, he was old as shit. So, I mean, he made it all. He was started in episode 1, and then, 50 years later was in episode 9. So he's doing something right.
Yeah. There's something to be said about that.
Yeah, something to be said about just getting zapped with lightning.
Well, there's YouTube channels I follow on that talk about like Disney and theme parks and like travel and things like that. And some of these people are worried about they're losing so much money on DEI and like making shitty movies that are flop, making shitty shows that are flopping. And they're losing. What was the number that they lost last year on like Disney Plus? The number was insane. Billions of dollars.
Yeah, well,
Like the only thing making Disney money is the theme parks. So
well, that's not true. Their movies make money.
I'm pretty sure the whole entertainment side lost money.
Well, that could have been due to Disney Plus, but when they release a new Marvel film, for the most part, that's going to end up being profitable.
All right, so 11 billion in streaming losses.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm pretty sure they did not add ads until the last year or maybe 2 on Disney Plus. So that makes a lot of sense because they weren't bringing in advertising revenue. But a good topic that we kind of brought up is, one, how the fuck is DEI even legal? And obviously, diversity and equity inclusion from a fundamental level is a good thing.
Do you know who started that?
No. Who?
It was a study done, and it was a study done incorrectly, done by who's the largest consulting company? Not Boston Consulting Group, the other one.
I know what you're talking about.
Dude, the Instagram people that make fun of McKinsey Corporation. Hold on, let me look this up. McKinsey Corporation DEI study. So it was showing that they essentially showed that companies that were more successful had like certain people in certain positions, but it was not causation, it was correlation. So the companies weren't doing better because it was like woman owned or they had those people in those positions. It just so happened to be that some of these companies had those people in those positions just because they were simply good at what they did.
Well,
But they construed the data and then literally sold that study as like their main front thing, and then got DEI into like all the large corporations.
A merit-based progress system is the only system. I mean, that's what America and most countries that have succeeded were built on. That and a fair
So it
amount
was
of
a link
nepotism.
between profits and executive, racial, and gender diversity. So they found a correlation. And then the research was used by investors, lobbyists, and regulators to push for more women and minority groups on boards to justify investing in companies that appointed them.
I wonder if that study actually...
It was bullshit. The study was bullshit.
Yeah, I'd say it was. I don't know why you would just not pick the best person for the role. And in America, you're going to end up with a lot more diversity as a byproduct due to what... America's a melting pot. So.
That would make the most sense. Yes.
But yeah, no, the show was shit, and that's that. But I'm of the mind that more Star Wars is good Star Wars. So I was upset it was canceled, especially after one season.
Are they still making the one that Bill Burr was in?
Yes.
What's that one?
I think he was in Mandalorian.
Yeah, Mandalorian. They still have that going?
Yeah.
I never actually logged. I don't think I ever logged into Disney Plus.
Oh, you've never watched anything on there?
Never. Not once. Is there anything really worth watching?
Yeah, The Mandalorian's pretty good.
I'll watch it because of Bill Burr.
Marvel movies.
Even though Burr is only in like one episode, I'll watch it because of Bill Burr.
He did good. I was surprised to see him there.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, what the fuck are you doing
Bill
here?
Burr doing? He seems like him working as an actor would be interesting.
Especially at Disney, I'm just like, what?
Yeah. But he did make the show not Bob's Burgers.
What do you make?
Bill Burr show. It's on Netflix. It's actually pretty funny. It's a sketch, or it's a cartoon. F is for family.
Oh, yeah. I
F
did
is
know
for
that.
family is actually pretty. 8 on IMDb. Not bad.
Is it animated?
Yeah.
I can't do animated shows.
Really?
Yeah, can't stand them. Used to love Family Guy and South Park back in the day, but now, fuck that.
It's still the only thing I'll still somewhat watch is South Park, and not like a whole episode, like if clips come up or something like that.
Oh yeah, I'll do that.
But I used to, in college, we used to binge watch Family Guy like every night. And dude, Family Guy used to be great. It actually is still pretty funny. I saw some clips of new episodes. I was like, because I remember a couple years ago, like during COVID, they were getting all bullshit. All those shows weren't as funny anymore.
No, nothing more.
But it seems like comedies. It seems like comedy's coming back
for sure.
Well, as it should.
And on that,
the Tom
note,
Brady roast was like comedy's come back.
Oh no, he. What's his name?
Chris Rock slapping Will Smith. Is that the comeback of comedy?
No, what's the roaster's name?
Kevin Hart.
No.
Oh, Tony Hinchcliffe?
Yeah, Tony Hinchcliffe. He killed it. But on that
apparently he's about to get a massive deal with Netflix.
Yes.
Like a massive deal.
Yeah, I watch Kill Tony.
Kill Tony's hilarious.
But real quick, we're going to take a commercial break. Hey there, St. Louis podcast listeners. We've got some exciting news from our friends over at Farmers Insurance of St. Louis, led by the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Lee of Farmers Insurance.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for a job or to own your own business under a brand that everyone and their cousin is familiar with, Mark Lee with Farmers Insurance of St. Louis is recruiting insurance agency owners here in St. Louis for their Farmers Insurance Mentorship Program.
And as many of you are aware, Garrett and I have owned quite a few successful and award-winning businesses over the years. And in a past life, one of those was a farmers insurance agency out of Chesterfield, Missouri.
Eric and I know firsthand how hard it is to start a business under a brand that no one has heard of and convince consumers and businesses to trust that you're an authority figure in your industry.
And as many of you know, we own an award-winning marketing firm, Vi Media, the one that Garrett was just discussing. And building that company's reputation literally took years. We're still building it to this day, and it's been 8 years in the making. However, with the Trusted Farmers Insurance Agency name on the building, we got started when we started our Farmers Insurance Agency. The trust was already built and has been for 96 years.
And if you can't do math, that means Farmers Insurance has been around since 1928. Luckily, you don't need to be a human calculator to get rich as an owner of your very own Farmers Insurance Agency.
Nope. All you have to do is reach out to the one and only Mark Lee, the leader of Farmers Insurance in the greater St. Louis metropolitan area.
That's right. So ensure he continues to sponsor our show and your favorite podcast, the St. Louis Podcast, by quitting your job today and calling Mark Lee. I wouldn't even wait for him to answer your call. Call your boss now, quit, and become your very own business owner.
Mm-hmm. Visit insurancecareerstl.com. That is insurancecareerstl.com. Should we spell it out?
Yes. It would
INSURANCE. Career, CAREER, STL.com, insurancecareerstl.com. Go there now. Back to the podcast.
And wait, insurancecareerstl.com.
Back to the podcast. Now that you just heard that lovely ad read, we are back at it, and you'll notice there's no more Garrett. He was sick, folks. And now I'm not upset because at least he made it, what'd you say, 15, 20 minutes? So we talked about, I was originally talking about how easy it would be to be a politician now and just stand on and actually have some sort of backbone. Because, I mean, everyone you know, the majority of people, 99.9% of people are getting screwed right now, from not being able to protect their data to, I just saw this, I was actually going to talk about Lena Khan, the FTC chair. Of course, earlier this year, they went to ban non-competes, which I think is great for 99% of applications. Apparently, 1 in 5 people have a non-compete. Now, obviously, 1 in 5 people don't make an insane amount of money here in the United States. So I don't think it makes any sense for the large majority, 99% at least, percent of people that, don't need non-competes. Non-competes make sense if you're an important executive in a business where you have intimate knowledge of things that, is making that business successful. And obviously, if you quit and leave and go make a competitor off the bat, you're bringing that knowledge over, right? And that, for the most part, isn't fair, especially if you're, an executive, C-level executive, whatever. Now, if you're just a normal employee, I would say even 99.9% of salary employees, it's absolutely insane to think that when you go work for someone, just because you worked for them in that industry, that now, even if you work for them for 6 months, if you quit or you get fired, you cannot go work for someone in a similar industry for, let's just say, a year or 2 years, or there's non-competes that are 5 years. It's insane. And I think as Americans, I don't see how the majority of people would be on favor of freedom, which is not having bullshit non-competes. Non-disclosures obviously make a little bit more sense for more people, talking about, again, intimate knowledge of a business or things about clients or things like that people don't want out in the realm. But non-compete strictly, just straight up banning you from working with any sort of other competitor or even in the same industry. Maybe they're not even competitors, but for the sake of the non-compete, they are. It's absolutely crazy. And I was praising Lena Khan this week because, non-competes, she hit a thing with Google and antitrust. And now I just saw that Google is banning uBlock Origin, so we'll come back to that story. And I just saw, as of a couple hours ago, that a federal judge has blocked the FTC Commission's ban on non-compete agreements that make it difficult to workers to join their employers' rivals or launch competing businesses. Like I said, 1 in 5 people have a non-compete. 1 in 5 people are not starting businesses. The ruling prevents the FTC's ban on non-compete agreements from taking effect on September 4th. The majority of people I've talked to about this are on the same page. Non-competes do not make sense for 99% of people. And this judge that did this is just proving that she is in the pockets of the corporations that won non-competes. The only reason non-competes are a good thing, or I should say the only people that look at non-competes as being a good thing, are corporations. Obviously, in no realm is it going to help the actual employee themselves. Obviously, if you're an owner of a company and you're on the executive team, it's going to help you. But again, for the majority of people, it makes no sense. So Judge Ada Brown, she and my Brown, ruled that the antitrust agency exceeded its statutory authority to ban practices related to unfair methods of competition, saying that the non-compete agreements ban is unreasonably overbroad without a reasonable explanation and would cause irreparable harm. I would flip that. I would say non-competes have caused irreparable harm. I've heard of companies like McDonald's and Wendy's and places like that, if you are flipping burgers, having to sign a non-compete. That way you don't take that intimate knowledge of burger making over to their competitor. Absolutely insane. Obviously, this judge is bought by corporations because the only people that would want to fight to keep non-competes on the board for the majority of people are going to be those large corporations, because at the end of the day, those are the people that it favors. Again, if you are a politician and you stand against non-competes and you stand against or you stand for people owning their data and not selling their data, it's pretty easy to be and stand for good political values right now. But instead, all we have are people are talking about the other opponent, right? If you like Trump, you're talking about Kamala. If you like Kamala, you're talking about Trump. It's nothing like, hey, here's what I stand for. Here's what I'm about. And I think it's bullshit. Kroger, they're under investigation for digital shelf labels. Are they changing prices depending on when people shop? The answer is maybe. I read an interesting article that was saying the people that were on the team that first developed these labels never thought that they would be used for something like this. I remember the story that came out a couple months ago about Wendy's, having surge pricing, which is fucking insane. The price is the price, regardless of when you go. You can't have surge pricing. You can't just change pricing depending on the time that they go. This should be entirely illegal. I don't know what basis it would be upon, but fucking over consumers, again, we're all consumers. Your neighbors, your family, your friends, everyone like that is getting screwed over by this. So again, this is in the best interest of Kroger. This is in the best interest of these corporations. It's not in the best interest of anyone else. So dynamic pricing, also referred to as surge pricing, demand pricing, time-based pricing, variable pricing, is a common practice in airlines, hotels, and ride-sharing services like Uber. We're all aware of that, right? You go on Uber, you go to book an Uber, you don't book it, 5 minutes later you get back on there, it's $5 more. That happens all the time. With ride sharing, with Uber, I guess it makes a little bit more sense, right? It doesn't make sense that it changes. Maybe it makes sense that it changes 5 minutes away, after 5 minutes, because now there's not that many people in that area that is servicing Uber. I feel like that can make more sense. But Kroger is Kroger. They're a grocery store. Food's already on the shelves. What the hell are we talking about? Same thing with, with food, right? It's already on the shelf. Airlines, we get screwed by airlines, and the same thing with hotels left and right. I would love to see surge pricing get removed. Obviously, it makes sense when it's like a late-minute flight and, maybe you catch a deal or you're paying more because it's something that you need immediately. But I can't see how dynamic pricing, all I can see is that we're price gouging consumers at the end of the day doing this thing. So again, I don't see how it's so hard to stand on some of these things and just say, this is bullshit. Why is this going on? So we had that happen. We have the FTC. I was super excited because I was actually talking to someone specifically. They were going to start a business in September, hopefully, even though really what they're going to be doing is, more of a sidestep than it is creating a competitor to where they currently work at. But that's the way it's going to be perceived. And if this doesn't go through, which it sounds like it's not going to go through, they're going to go to the Court of Appeals or the appellate court, whatever they said on the article, in order to try and overturn this. But I think it's crazy that a judge would say it's going to cause irreparable harm. It's only going to cause irreparable harm to the people that are lining your pocket. And I'll just say, allegedly. Again, these are all my thoughts. I have no proof on people lining her pockets, but I'm sure if we go talk to someone and get to the bottom of it, we could probably find some sort of hole, or even just goes back to how she got her job in the first place, which I don't want to get into because it doesn't matter. If you want to look it up, look it up. I did find that, and I wish I would have talked to Garrett about this before he left. The artificial intelligence is losing its hype, which I'm kind of on board with this, and I do kind of agree. It doesn't seem like AI, ChatGPT, and things like that have gotten significantly better, where it's literally taking the place of people's jobs, in business. It's taking away some of the headache of doing repetitive tasks, of brainstorming and things like that. But for the standpoint of AI, it seems like the ever-growing demand is not ever-growing, and it will not deliver the vast profits that they seek. This is an Economist article. I will not pay for Economist, so of course I'm only reading the top section. But AI revolution, apparently, at the beginning of this year, 5.4% of companies were using AI models. Now, only 4.8% of American companies are using models as of August of 2024. So it is interesting to see about 0.5%, a little bit more of companies that were using AI at the beginning of this year are no longer using AI. And I would love to have a conversation with those companies to see why that's the case, because it seems like, from a standpoint of what we know about AI, that more than 5.4 or 4.8% of businesses use AI to produce goods and services. I do find that interesting. And maybe that data doesn't actually include companies like us, because we don't technically use AI to produce goods and services. We just help us. We just have those programs to help us to actually make those goods and services. So I'd be interested to see how that study was exactly done now looking at it, because the percent of businesses using AI has to be larger than 5%, you would think. Please leave a comment if you're a business owner or work in a business that uses AI, or don't. Please let us know. But this, the standpoint is AI is losing its hype. Garrett was saying that, I guess, strawberries coming out. Is that what he said, Matt? Something about ChatGPT strawberry. And I'm like, I really think at this point, Sam Altman and ChatGPT are really just trying to hype up their next release, right? We had ChatGPT 4, we had 4.0. Is it really that much better? Now we're going to have strawberry. It's like, at what point, we're just seeing like negligible changes at this point. Are we ever going to see a drastic change where it's like, holy shit, I can talk to this thing as a coworker, or as a director of sales, or as a director of marketing, and them actually going to have the know-how, knowledge of, us being able to have a conversation with them, and vice versa, them having a conversation with us back. We're just not there yet. And I don't know how, soon that's going to happen. There are AI people like, of course, Elon, who, for the most part, his timelines don't work out. So trusting Elon in terms of a timeline is tough. But it seems like we're going to have intelligent AI in terms of not only AI, on your phone or on your computer, but actually having, a being like the movie I, Robot, which is a great movie, by the way. If you haven't watched that in a while, watch it. It still is a good movie. And don't forget, Shia LaBeouf is in that movie. Classic days of Shia LaBeouf. All right, so AI is falling off, apparently. We'll see where it goes. With AI and Meta is annoying, right? Copilot is having a ton of issues with AI. We just saw Gemini getting a bunch of backlash. I don't know if you actually saw, side topic, I don't know if you saw the Gemini ad on the Olympics, but he's like, I love my daughter so much. She's so good at what she does. And then he's like, I'm going to use Gemini to write write something that's saying how much I love what she does. And I'm like, oh my God, I was like, that's the one time you should not be using ChatGPT. Use your brain and write from your heart. And it was amazing that ad would even go through. And I don't know how someone at one point is not like, hey, this is not the impression that we want to give about our AI program that is going to help you. It's insane. Watch the video. Atriarch, I watch occasionally his Marketing Monday videos, and they're pretty funny. He goes over a lot of the ads from the Olympics. Most of them are not great at all. Definitely failures, just like that one we're talking about right now. So AI losing its hype. I'm curious what you guys have to say about that. Please leave it in the comments. I did see something else that was interesting. There's so much stuff. We've talked about Boeing before. I don't know if we've talked about it recently. Apparently, the Boeing CEO, though, the outgoing Boeing CEO, I should say, is going to sit down with a whistleblower in a historic meeting. Boeing's recently departed CEO and president, Dave Calhoun, is set to take part in a one-on-one meeting with the employee, raise concerns about the safety of the company planes. Brian Knowles, an attorney representing over a dozen current and former employees of Boeing, spoke to Newsweek about the upcoming encounter between Calhoun and his client, Sam Mohawk. No lawyers will be present. Expected to take place at some point in mid-September, which Knowles said would allow the pair to speak freely and have a productive and candid conversation. And my first thought was, why the hell does talking to this outgoing CEO, what is that going to change? The outgoing CEO was the guy, right, in front of Congress that said, yeah, we have attacked whistleblowers. So now he's going to try and have an honest conversation with the whistleblower to somehow show that Boeing has changed heart. Give me a break. Give me a break. I do think it's interesting that Boeing is even, especially with the Boeing, people stuck in space. And guess who's going to have to go save them? SpaceX. Sounds like SpaceX. They're going to have to wait till February, apparently, for them to get saved. And obviously, normally in the past, we used to work with the Russians on going to space. If you haven't noticed, we're kind of at war with them. So it's not like we can send the Russians up to help us out, or really the Chinese for that matter. No one really that, is going up to space right now is really on our side and vice versa. And I will say, shout out to NASA for whenever they gave the contract, I think in 2011 or 2014 to Boeing and SpaceX, for not just giving that contract to one of those companies. Because let me tell you, they probably would have went with Boeing, and Boeing is by far well behind SpaceX. This is their first time they send someone to space in their new capsule, and it's the first time that they're not going to be able to bring someone back down in their new capsule as well. I think it just goes to show that Boeing is way too big. They should be made to be broken up. Commercial, defense, and then space. And I don't think anybody with a brain between their two ears here would agree with me on that. It doesn't make any sense. Does it make sense to you guys for a company that is responsible for building planes that don't fall out of the sky, responsible for lives? And I guess this could be said for car manufacturers as well. Now that I'm thinking about it, because we talked about them they're all about the money. They're all about profit. Safety falls by the wayside. I don't know if it was Dave Calhoun or the previous CEO at Boeing, where they said all they care about is essentially dollar per share, right? Dollar per share means that they are going to cut costs, which could be safety costs. And this could go back 20 to 30 years. We know right now that the Boeing 777 has just, I think, been grounded due to engine mounting issues. So we have nothing but issues going on right now same with Starbucks. Starbucks CEO, they're hiring the old CEO from Chipotle. Starbucks is hurting. Starbucks is hurting because, you can only charge so much for coffee and shitty food. So Starbucks is hurting, and they're hiring a new CEO of Chipotle. Or no, is it Chipotle or Taco Bell? I think it was Chipotle. Why did I see that Taco Bell? Anyways, Taco Bell or Chipotle, whatever the hell it is. Starbucks is bringing a new CEO in because their stock value is dropping. And it's not dropping because their revenue is dropping. It's dropping because their revenue is stagnant. As the economy continues to tighten, which you will hear, you haven't really heard up until the last couple of months that the economy is tightening, people are hurting. I didn't start hearing this until recently, even though we've been talking about it since we started this podcast last March, that the economy has been propped up, and it's bullshit. Everything's expensive. We just had Kamala out there talking about stuff being expensive. It's like, you're the VP. Why don't you do something about it? Really doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so Starbucks, right? You can only charge so much for a sugar coffee. You can only charge so much for that shitty food. And what they're trying to do right now is actually have automated coffee machines. They're trying to have everyone order online, which I'm sure you've noticed. If you don't order online, they make it very difficult for you to order in person at the store, at most stores, I should say. And they want they want everyone to order online. You'll notice that if you don't order online, it takes a hell of a lot longer to get your stuff at Starbucks. So they're almost attacking and antagonizing the people that aren't ordering online. I see why it makes them easier for, Starbucks. Now they don't have to have someone there taking that order. They're not going to have someone there, making the coffee. Eventually, it's just going to be no one working at Starbucks. At that point, just put a machine at your house. Like, what are we even doing? It is very odd that people continue to go and spend more and more money at Starbucks. I remember a couple years ago, started going to Starbucks, getting my shaken espresso with vanilla cold foam, which is frankly awful for you if you look at the calories and the sugar content and everything else. But the medium size was like $4.50, right? Wasn't a lot. It was a lot, but it wasn't a lot. Now it's like $7. It's like in no way am I spending $7-8 on a coffee. You get a large, it's 10. It's like it's insane. Majority of people are going to just start going to their office and drinking the free coffee at the office like I do. It's not free for me, I guess. I'm an owner of the business, but we buy espresso and coffee at our office. We have an espresso machine, sure. Maybe it's not the best thing on the planet, but I'll tell you what, it makes espresso about as good as espresso at Starbucks, and an espresso pod, costs like 50 cents. So if we're just talking about straight caffeine intake, there's better ways to go about doing this. Going back to why I even wanted to bring up Starbucks, though, they're not making the CEO, Brian Nickel, move out to the company headquarters in Seattle. Well, they're not making him move to Seattle, I should say. He's not going to move to the company headquarters. Instead, he's going to take the private jet to and from Newport Beach, California. So Starbucks, stock dropping because revenue is stagnant, but now they're going to pay more money to fly the CEO back and forth from Seattle to Newport Beach. Makes sense. Good luck with that. What else? We were talking about the FTC earlier and Lisa Khan. FTC bans fake reviews. Inflated social media influence rule takes effect in October. We'll see if Jada Brown, the dumbass judge that got rid of, struck down non-competes, is now going to, take on this as well. So the FTC commission voted unanimously to ban marketers from using fake reviews, such as those aggregated, such as those generated with AI technology and other misleading advertising practices. Also forbids marketers from exaggerating their own influence. For example, paying for bots to inflate their follower count, buying likes, buying reviews. I love this. This is what I love. Because this helps out the 90% of people that can't tell when someone is fake. A majority of these influencers and people like that, that have all of these followers, you can actually look up on YouTube, Nelk. Allegedly, Nelk got big, and they still do it to this day. They buy likes, they buy comments on their posts and on their videos. And I know someone here in St. Louis, a large influencer, that apparently is super successful, but buys comments and likes on their Facebook post. And it's obvious because you go to the likes and, it's 1,000 likes or whatever. Like the first 10 people look legit, and then everything else it's like Chinese names and things like that. It's like, dude, you run a service-based business in St. Louis. I'm sure 99% of your audience is based in China. So I'm happy about this. They need to get rid of this. It's insane that it's taken this long to do so. And I hope it goes the way of Google reviews as well. Because there are a ton of shady businesses, or even on Trustpilot and things like that take advantage of these review platforms. And they're all fake reviews. Or you pay for a review. Big thing coming out right now is Oxford Gold. They were a large broker of gold, essentially. Is it Oxford Gold? What the hell is it called? Oxford Gold Group Um, you know, just look them up. Go ahead and look up that scam on YouTube, Oxford Gold Group. They were buying fake reviews allegedly on, their Yelp, on their Trustpilot and other things like that, and also buying reviews by the way of sending someone a free gold coin in order for them to leave a positive review, which should be illegal as well. Should not be able to buy reviews. The only way someone should be able to leave a review, realistically, is if someone has worked for them or with them, right? They're a customer or, really that's it. Should be customers. Or your referral partners, right? You send business to them. They take care of a bunch of your clients. Obviously, that makes sense. And I don't know how Google would even look and know that kind of data. So it's hard to say that. But I'm glad that they're getting rid of that. Lena Khan seems like one of the only people in our entire government right now that seems to give a shit about doing her job, which I find very odd, that Biden or any president for that matter, same thing goes with Trump when he was in office, would appoint someone to a government organization like the FTC that's actually going to do their job. It's pretty awesome to see. It's obviously not awesome to see again Judge Ada Brown putting down non-competes for those people that, number one, have non-competes and that we're happy about this, or number two, is a business that uses non-competes. I think it's important to look at this from a standpoint of why it's important. And if you're a business owner, why it makes sense to maybe use it for a very small percentage of people that work at your business. If you're a small business with 10 employees, I mean, besides the ownership team, why do you have non-competes? Like, what are you so scared of? You're scared that that person is going to go create a better business than you? It's competition, baby. I don't know. That's the name of the game. Figure it out. Google antitrust could change how we do the internet. We already talked about that. I think it's funny that CrowdStrike is unhappy with shady commentary from competitors. CrowdStrike, notoriously the company that on the weekend of July 19th, my birthday weekend, July 20th, they had pretty much blue screened most Microsoft computers across the board that had anything to do with airlines. It was restaurants, it was hotels, hospitality, all because CrowdStrike, frankly, after what came out about how it happened, they shouldn't even be in business. Everyone should have left them immediately. I'm sure CrowdStrike has some sort of competitor. Sorry, CrowdStrike CEO. What's this guy's name? What's this idiot's name? Michael Sentonas. Sorry, dude. You're a $1 billion organization, and you guys don't know how to properly put out an update. When we update our clients' websites, we do a better job than you guys do making $5+ billion a year on important infrastructure that affects millions of people. Do your job. If you pay CrowdStrike right now, why? Find a competitor and leave them. Is this defamatory? It's all opinion. CrowdStrike, you made a horrible update that ruined millions of people and lost millions, if not billions of dollars. Do better. Start an IT company. What else we got? What time we at, Matt? How long we got? What do we have? 50 minutes? You know what? We'll save the St. Louis love for another day. Actually, no, let's wrap it up. On a good note, like local news. Right? We're talking about all these issues in the world. Let's talk about some good stuff here in St. Louis. Are you a St. Louis local? Are you my age? Are you younger? Are you a male or a female? Are you looking for good spots to hang out? This isn't even an ad, by the way. I just wanted to talk about this. It should be an ad. Forest Park, I don't know if you guys have a marketing budget, but shout out. We'll figure out that. Let's say you're dating someone, you're married, You're single. It doesn't matter. Go to Forest Park. Go to Forest Park. The History and Art Museum. If you are dating people, if you have a girlfriend, if you have a wife, if you have a whatever, boyfriend, if you have a husband, you're by yourself. You're poly. Whatever the hell. I don't even know what people do nowadays. Go to the art museum and get a membership. It's not even expensive. Get you into all the expos. They have like what? New exhibits. I think like once a month, maybe once every other month. Art museum's a great place to hang out. I always go to the Armor first, personally. I got to see the Armor and Swords. Sick. Obviously, I'm a dude at heart, my God, but art museum's amazing. And it's amazing, especially if you're dating someone new, because at the art museum or at Forest Park, you're at the History Museum, you're at, if it's nice out, the zoo. I think the zoo's a little overrated for a date. Well, you got stinky animals. You go into the penguin exhibit, smell that. Not a good start. But the art museum's a great spot. History museum's a great spot. And then you got all the restaurants around. You go to Demont, you go to Sasha's Wine Bar, you go to Louis on Demont. If you haven't been to Louis on Demont, if you haven't done Forest Park and then Louis on Demont, add it to your list. If you're a man right now, make a note. If you're a woman right now, make a note. Tell your partner this is what we're doing. If you're trying to date someone, if you're trying to get a date with someone, this might be a lot for a first date, to be honest, because you don't know how the hell they are. But this is a great date. You've been on a couple dates with them. Easily 9 out of 10 date. Go to Forest Park. You can have a picnic. Then you go to the art museum. Then you can end it at Louis on Demont. Amazing food, amazing service. Shout out Louis. Go to the Botanical Garden. Man, we need to get better at dating. I feel like our parents did it right. Nowadays, who the hell knows how to date? We all get on an app and we're like, let's go to Soulard. Let's go to Mauly's. Let's get better. Let's do something more interesting. You can't just go to a club. You'd be able to talk to the person. How the hell are you going to know anything about him if you're not talking to him? Botanical Garden, you got Sasha's on Shaw right there. I would say I used to go to the Irish pub right there next to the Botanical Garden, which is a classic dive. Used to have some of the best burgers in St. Louis, but of course, I think I talked about it last year. The sun took over. It's not as good anymore. And it just is what it is. So, Forest Park, head to Demont. Botanical Garden, head to Sasha's. If you haven't been to Broadway Street, Broadway Oyster Bar, the Garage, live music, you're messing up. Don't be scared to go downtown. If you're scared to go downtown, I don't know. Move to Farmington. Stay in Farmington. If you don't want to go downtown, I was just there for my birthday this year. I went to Broadway Oyster Bar last year for my birthday. Broadway Street, live music is always a good time. And the nice thing with those places is it's quiet enough and they have spots where you could talk and you can also go dance. It's great. It's the main thing you want to do if you're on a date. You go to Maplewood. It's my spot. Love hanging out at Blue Duck. They got a patio now. Super tall. It's up there. You can see all Maplewood. Sick. Side Project Brewing and Distilleries right there. If you want to cook at home, right? Bullyards, meat, boom, right there in Maplewood. Pick out some meat. What do you want? Chicken, beef? You want some bacon? You want dog treats? Homemade dog treats. Does your girl have dog? You want some dog treats? Bullyards. I can talk about St. Louis spots and where to go all day long. Do I need to be Hitch of St. Louis? Hitch was one of the best chick flicks of all time, probably. That and Devil Wears Prada. I'll stand on my, what's her name? Not Marilyn Streep. Come on. Come on. I'm butchering her name right now. I feel so bad. Meryl Streep. What'd I say? And Anne Hathaway. Emily Blunt is in that movie. Stanley Tucci. Oh. I need to go watch. Giselle? Shit, we got Tom Brady's ex-wife in there. All right. That's all the time we have for today. However, as always, we will be back next week with another episode, a new guest, and unfortunately more of myself. Hopefully we can talk about some good stuff next week. It seems like there's not a lot of good happening in the world. There's a lot of bad. And I think really we need to start taking some initiative as people to start talking about this and making some change. I see so many people on social media bitching. I see no one talking about solutions, and I also don't see any of the people that are bitching talking about running for anything locally, okay? If you're going to be a hero and talk about politics all the time, why don't you run and make a change for something, even locally, right? But just like most people, they're keyboard warriors and they're all talk and they don't actually care at the end of the day. With that said, leave a review, downvote if you didn't like the episode, upvote if you did. Leave a comment, like, review, subscribe. We appreciate everyone's support. It may seem like we're a little bit upset today, and we are. Not upset at you guys. We're upset at the world, right? Let's take it out. Let's make some changes. If you're watching live or later, stlouispodcast.com. Tell us a message. Leave us a like. We're looking for sponsorships. It's a great time after just talking about all that. If you want to be a sponsor, privacy, probably a privacy. You a privacy company here in St. Louis? It'd be a great sponsor. You're an IT company in St. Louis? Let's go. It'd be a great sponsor. CrowdStrike can't do their job. Can you? All right. Finally, halfcoaststudios.com. If you're looking to record a podcast here in St. Louis, if you're looking for them just to edit that, spin it out, post it out for you guys, they can do that as well. Mark Lee, if you're looking for a farmer's insurance agency to own or just to build, get experience, and then own. Then, of course, best damn marketing company on the planet, Vi.media. Yours truly. You'll be the one to talk to. I'll talk to you. Vi.media. That's our website. Or, of course, just reach out to me, Eric Kemp Brown, across the board. All right. That's it. See y'all next week. Thank you.
Hey there, St. Louis podcast listeners. We've got some exciting news from our friends over at Farmers Insurance of St. Louis, led by the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Lee of Farmers Insurance.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for a job or to own your own business under a brand that everyone and their cousin is familiar with, Mark Lee with Farmers Insurance of St. Louis is recruiting insurance agency owners here in St. Louis for their Farmers Insurance Mentorship Program.
And as many of you are aware, Garrett and I have owned quite a few successful and award-winning businesses over the years. And in a past life, one of those was a farmer's insurance agency out of Chesterfield, Missouri.
Eric and I know firsthand how hard it is to start a business under a brand that no one has heard of and convince consumers and businesses to trust that you're an authority figure in your industry.
And as many of you know, we own an award-winning marketing firm, Vi.media, the one that Garrett was just discussing. And building that company's reputation literally took years. We're still building it to this day, and it's been 8 years in the making. However, with the Trusted Farmers Insurance Agency name on the building, we got started when we started our Farmers Insurance Agency. The trust was already built and has been for 96 years.
And if you can't do math, that means Farmers Insurance has been around since 1928. Luckily, you don't need to be a human calculator to get rich as an owner of your very own Farmers Insurance Agency.
Nope. All you have to do is reach out to the one and only Mark Lee, the leader of Farmers Insurance in the greater St. Louis metropolitan area.
That's right. So ensure he continues to sponsor our show and your favorite podcast, the St. Louis Podcast, by quitting your job today and calling Mark Lee. I wouldn't even wait for him to answer your call. Call your boss now, quit, and become your very own business owner.
Mm-hmm. Visit insurancecareerstl.com. That is insurancecareerstl.com. Should we spell it out?
Yes. It would
INSURANCE Career, CAREER, STL.com, insurancecareerstl.com. Go there now.